Just like to, first of all, tell you all, thank you all for being here because this is a complete new venue for me. I've done this face to face for many, many times, but it's a little more intimidating this way. But anything that is new, I guess, is that way. So whether it be the PowerPoint or being a lion or whatever. So hopefully this will give you some information about our district and clear up some cobwebs that you may still have even if you're not a new Lions. So welcome to District 4A2's orientation. We have elected leaders every year and they change, of course. They always say that you get to be the CEO for 1 year. But David Beeman has gotten a different scenario in his life. He actually was elected to be to fill in for when Van passed away. But our district governor is Lion David Beeman from the Hanford Breakfast Club. Our first vice is David Hamilton from the Sunset Lions Club, my club, yay. And then your second is, excuse me, is Falcone, who is also from Hanford Breakfast. So these leaders will be in place for a year, and then David will roll off, and the other David Hamilton will be governor in 21-22. So we have a motto that we go by. Of course, you all know that. It's called "We Serve." But we serve three places. We serve our God, our country, and our community. And the community is where we plug in as Lions. We're mandated by a code of ethics. In today's world, sometimes I think ethics is a little overlooked, but our ethics are very well written out in your guideline books. You'll get it in your new directory. I really encourage you to go through and look at each of those because I believe very strongly to be a really good anything, you need to have an ethics background. So our ethics are, listed on the screen. I'm not going to read them. I'm going to give you time to look at them. But I really like some of them. I like the fact that we are not doing this for our own monetary value. We're doing it because of our belief in serving other people. And this one's to seek success and to demand anything beyond that is my due, but to accept profit at the price of my own self-respect is not what Lions are all about. So, and then this one I think is sometimes hard to do because when somebody disagrees with you, you want to, or I do, I want to try and move them into my direction, but we need to give them the right to have that opinion of something else, but to give yourself when you're in an argument or in your discussion to allow yourself to be the doubt against yourself so that you can maybe learn something new. And I want to think that Lions for me has been the best thing for me, and the fact it is friendships. The friendships that I have, you can't put a price on those, and I truly bless myself and the people that are in my life because of Lions. And so I think that's one of the best things that comes out of Lions. And then of course this one, my obligations as a citizen of my nation, my state, and my community. We've had a lot of sympathy and a lot of stress in our Lions life this year, and so this is a good one also. And I think this is for me, I try this to be my motto, to not always be critical, but to always give praise, because I think you get better results from my students in my classroom when I taught, and my friendship when I give praise and not try to destroy them with my criticism. Lions has an amazing history when you look at it, and we're only going to go through a very thumbnail sketch of it, but we all started, as you know, over 100 years ago in Chicago, and many of us had the wonderful opportunity of being in Chicago in 2017 at the convention, and it was just such an amazing thing that it's been 100 years, and one man's idea has changed the world. It didn't take but 3 years before we could be called international when Canada joined us. So as from then on, it starts to escalate as more and more people around the world found and became part of it. But we changed our focus completely in 25. At that time, there were a few Lions clubs throughout the United States and Canada, but they all had their own agenda. And so Helen Keller came to the convention, as you all well know, but she came to the convention to promote the blindness school that she was trying to fund. And she challenged the Lions, and that challenge was accepted and has become the motto that we're known for, Knights of the Blind. In 31, just a few years later, Latin America, which was, I think, Mexico, I'm not sure about that one, chartered. And in 45, during the war, we were the only non-governmental organization, and we still are, to be part of the United Nations. And then 2 years later, Australia came in, and a year later, Europe, and a few years later, Asia. And then Africa, I don't have the date on it, but it has been in the last 25 or 30 years. And then, of course, this is the very important one. In 1987, women were allowed to be members. Up to that point, you could be we were an auxiliary, a lioness. There was a couple of court cases that were impending at the time, and Lions decided to be very proactive. And so they it was never the intention to be just a male, but they took all the references to the gender out of our Constitution and allowed women to become members. And of course, in the 80s, we also did a worldwide thing to prevent blindness. We raised lots of millions of dollars. It was very, very effective. We partnered up again with the Gates Foundation for the measles vaccine, One Shot, One Life. That has done very well too. This almost eradicating measles, but it's an ongoing thing, because as new generations and new people and new babies are born, they have to have the shot also. But so it's an ongoing partnership. And then, of course, we have the disaster, which is being funded by Lions Club International Foundation. And they're quite busy right now with funding for things in California, things in Asia, things all over the world. Our objectives are also, I think, in anything you have that you go about, whether it be a business or a business plan or whatever, you have to have objectives. So our objectives are to create and foster a spirit of understanding among the people of the world. And as I go through this, if something comes up that you have a question on, I would like you to write it down, and at the end of our presentation, we'll go into questions, and we will answer those. To promote the principles of good government and good citizenship, and to take an active interest in the civic, cultural, social, and moral welfare of our community. This is where we really want to make our own community first better, and then we go out from there. Most Lions Clubs do that. Unite our clubs in friendship, fellowship, and mutual understanding. An open forum for discussion, and this gets, it's really amazing when you think that throughout the world, there are so many different kinds of just cultural things, and Alliance has been able to circumvent all that and come together. So it just makes it amazing, I think. To encourage service-minded people without any personal financial reward is also part of who we are. If I'm going too fast, let me know, but I hope you're reading this, as I'm not reading it all word for word. I've said in a lot of things when I was a teacher and had it read to me, and I thought, I do have a master's degree. I can read the slide, but that's beside the point. All right, one of the things that for years I did not understand why we have the C's and we have the A's and we have numbers, and I personally was quite confused for many, many years until someone, I think it was Carrie Dills, who was my mentor when I started all this, that you divided the state into 3 sections. C is the northern, A is the middle, and L is the tail. There are 6 districts in the C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the middle for A, there's A, 1, 2, and 3, and we are A2. And then the L has 6, so a total of 15 districts. Each one of those districts has a governor that gets to be a governor for 1 year, and then they move on. So when you hear of someone in an L, whether you remember the number or not, you know that's down in the San Diego, Los Angeles. And if you hear a C, you know that that's up where about Redding, and I think it cuts just a little bit south of Sacramento. So our multiple, or most multiples, to be part of Lions Club Multiple, you have to have at least 35 clubs, and you have to be at least 1,250 members to be a district. Our district has over 2,000, or usually runs around 2,000, and we have about 60 some odd clubs. If it gets too big, then they tend to split it, but right now that's what dictates a district. Our district has 4 counties, all of Fresno, all of Tulare, all of Kings, and Kern to the Tehachapi Mountains. So like I said, we have over 60 clubs and approximately 2,000 members. We are one of the largest, or we have consistently been one of the largest districts in California. All right, your district governor has the job of being the CEO of the district. And like I said before there, one year they get to do that, and then they got to pass it back down and be a PDG, which is, I think, the better part of it anyway, to be and still involved. So it's really a neat thing, but they only get to be there for 1 year, and they are elected. Usually that election happens at our district convention, which was postponed this year. Actually, I think it was canceled, not postponed. But we still did our election, so the district governor, David, is now our new governor. He has the responsibility of representing us wherever he goes. We also have 2 vice governors, first vice and a second. They go through training for 2 years, and they continue to learn, and then they take office. But they're there to help the governor in any way that he chooses to see fit. They are, again, guidelines of the objects and ethics. And usually they serve as chairman for the GMT, GLT, and now we have, I should have changed that, we also have one more on service. They're called, so these, which is Roland, he's the GLT, right? Right. You get, and that's usually a 1 or 2 to 2, 3, sometimes a 3-year program, office. It's not easy. I did it 1 year, and I was ready to give it to somebody else. It's, you know, but it is a learning, anything you do is a learning experience. Now, as we work down from the governor to the GLT and GMT and the GST, we have region chairs. Region chairs used to be called deputy district governors. And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, right around the time I joined in 83, or 83, they changed it to region. Some districts don't have enough people. So this, like it says here, this position is optional. But they are members of the district cabinet, appointed usually by the governor. But some areas do it differently, some do elect it. And they are responsible for helping the governor in their actual regions. And then kind of like a chain, it goes from the region chair, what he learns or what he's assigned to do, he's reported back to the governor. But the duties are to supervise the zones. So in our area, 4A2, we have 12 zones. So each one of those zone chairs are divided into districts, so not districts, but regions. So we have the southern region, which is Marco. This year, he's the region chair. And then we have the central, which is Janet McClintock. And then we have the western, which is Ray Etchtagoin. And then the northern is Lydia Martinez. They supervise all their zones. So it's, again, it's that chain that goes from the zones to the regions, from the regions to the governor. And anything that they're assigned to do, I mean, the governor can ask them to do something, and they supervise that. This is the committees. And if a new club comes into play and or one is having trouble, they can be asked to go out and assist with that also. When we move out of the state, we go into the international. And the international is named, of course, as you all will know, is called the International Association of Lions Clubs. That's a mouthful. So we usually, like in most things, we simplify it by just saying Lions Club International or LCI. I think that's the one thing that when I do new member orientation is to let them know that there's a complete language to being a lion, you know, and sometimes when you start rolling these through your mouth as a new lion, you're going, what am I talking about? What am I saying? So it is a complete language. And as a special ed teacher, and I was a parent of a special ed child, I made a vow to myself that when I became a teacher, I would not use them as often, because I remember sitting in many meetings thinking, I don't understand what they're saying. They're using acronyms. So be careful with using them sometimes, especially with new people. Our mission statement, again, is to provide an understanding for people all over the world and divided by and put together by human needs. One of the stories I like to tell is that when China, when Hong Kong and all that was taken over by Red China, the actual Chinese government, we were the only organization that was allowed to come in and develop Lions Clubs because of this mission statement. We didn't have any agenda, and so they were willing to let us come in. The same thing came about with Russia and some of the other countries that are now open. The motto, I guess we said before, is we serve. Very simple. It's on everything we have. But it was adopted in '54, and I thought it was interesting when I found this out. There were 6,000 suggestions from all over the world. How they got down to this one is beyond me. I mean, I can't even imagine 6,000 suggestions, but being in the student speaker, we get suggestions. Sometimes we have maybe 200 or 300, and that's hard enough, but 6,000, but anyway, they came up with this one, and that we've stuck with it. And then, of course, we have a slogan. Everybody always asks me when I first became a lion, you should be a lioness because you're a woman. Well, no, it's an acronym. So it means liberty, intelligence, our nation's safety, or LIONS. But lately, I like this one, loving individuals offering needed service. I think that one is more what I think of myself as a lion, because we are loving individuals and we are there for serving. We have colors. Purple and gold. 1917, how they came up with purple and gold, I am not sure I know that for sure, but that was in 1917. That was, once they decided to be lion, they decided on the colors. And I think it had a lot to do with actually looking up what colors mean. Of course, purple represents loyalty to friends, to country, to self, integrity of your mind. It's a color of strength, courage, and dedication to a cause. And in some, if you look into some cultures, purple is pretty well in a lot of different cultures because of that, something royal. The goal is sincerity of purpose, being very liberal with your judgment, generous of mind, heart, community, mankind, all the things. Again, a goal is something that is treasured throughout the world. So. But often nowtimes you'll see blue, and I'm not sure if it has what it has to do with why they changed it, but I think it had something to do with some of the cultures. So we now see a dark blue, which I prefer the purple. All right, our symbol we have an emblem that we wear on our badges and our coats and everything else. It was adopted in 1919, so you can see quickly, in just a matter of a very few years, they came up with their symbol, they came up with their colors, and now they came up with their logo. And that logo is recognized now. You can wear that. When I went on a trip in 1980 something when I was Robert Lee's secretary on vacation. And I went with my parents to the Orient. And I remember sitting on the thing going up in Hong Kong to the top of the hill on this little cable car. And we passed a sign in Chinese, but it had that logo. You know, I immediately knew what it was because it's the same, it's recognized whether it's in another country, and people recognize it when you wear it. So you can wear that same pin is worn by people in every country of the world. And of course it has, you know, sometimes I think we see things so often that we don't really see them. And I think sometimes when you kind of look at your pen and realize, oh my gosh, there's really a lot of detail to it. But it does have two lions facing each west and east. One is past, one is future. It has lions at the top, international at the bottom. Recently, they've changed the logo a little bit. The logo used to have the lion's tongue was red. But I understand now they've changed it for some reason and they've made it nondescript. But you still see the symbol with the red tongue. But look at your pen and see it. Just kind of notice what's on there. Sometimes I think we have to revisit something. And I always wear it. And I really work with this. Your pin should always be over your heart and then your badge on the other side. You see people with them reversed. And of course, every time I do, I want to change them. But still, that's the way you're supposed to wear it, over your heart, your badge on the right. So because when you shake hands with someone, that your right side of your body is what they have, what they see more. So I think that's why they do it. So I think I'm talking way too fast. But anyway, at a glance, we were formed in 1917. Our founder was Melvin Jones. There's a place where I believe it's in New Mexico where he lived for a while, and there's a big museum there. Someday I want to go see it. We have the motto, we serve, our colors, our slogan, and our primary focus. We have branched out from this to include diabetes, child cancers, hunger. I mean, Lions are always open to new avenues, but we started off this way, and that's what we're mostly known to be, is prevention of blindness. We have about 1.6 million people in approximately 210 countries. These numbers vary back and forth, but about 46,000 clubs. And so when you go to an international convention, it's really interesting. I've only been to 2, but to walk around and hear so many different dialects, so many different conversations in different languages, all working towards one goal to be, I'm sorry, I thought that thing was supposed to be silenced. All right, done. So much for silencing it, I'm sorry. All right, but it was interesting to walk around and see so many different colors of costumes that people would wear, and that weren't costumes, but we saw them as costumes, but they were just beautiful fabrics and different dialects and different ways of doing things. That's really when you start really getting a bigger picture of what the world is like with lions. So if you ever get a chance, please to go. Our district has some main projects. They're not limited to this list, but some of them are the Operation Friendship, which most of us know. It's going down to, we used to call it Hands Across the Border, and it's been 50 plus years now when it was started, and the things that it has accomplished has been mind-boggling. And I hope all of you that had at least one opportunity to go. It was my husband's pet thing, so we went every year, but I haven't been since I was governor, but Operation Friendship was at the Ensenada Alliance, with the Ensenada Alliance. You don't hear much about this, but in Fresno, and I'm not sure it's still open, we visited that one many years ago, the Lions Eye Bank, where they have the corneas and they do cornea transplants and that sort of thing. I'm not sure how active that is. Of course, we have Bearskin Meadows, which is the diabetes camp that these are district projects. So they're Lions clubs individually within the district have the option to participate or to be part of, but these are the projects that the district wants to highlight. Tabs for the Ronald McDonald. I know I incorporated this in my classroom. My kids were so excited to think that of course I treated them for it, but that's beside the point. You know, we're supposed to do anything for a treat. But anyway, but the tabs was something that they could do. I was asked many times, why don't you just recycle the cans? I said, because you can't bring beer cans to school, but you can bring the beer tab to school and no one knows where it came from. So yeah, so this is a neat thing we've done. And vision screening. We have a lot of clubs now that have the vision screening machines. I know Host Club and Charter Oak has them, and they're amazing. So that's being done throughout our district. Now, as a member of a club, this is kind of the way most clubs work. And like I said, there's some different, but you have under membership, it's all the board of directors. It's headed by the president, secretary, and treasurer. The president he's a facilitator or she's a facilitator. She doesn't get to vote or she doesn't get to present something to be voted on. But the secretary and treasurer under her, your first, your second, sometimes that's all. But if you have enough people in your club, you usually have a third. And then you have your membership and your directors. Your twister can be 1 or 2 people, depending on on how many people you have in there. And your tamers. The tamer is the one that keeps all the paraphernalia. Our club includes the greeter on this, but I don't, I was thinking, all right. So the greeter's responsibility is to make sure that everyone that comes through the door is made comfortable. And then of course your past president. And as a member of a Lions Club, you have a expectation to be there. The Proud Lion program is when a new lion comes in, you have 6 things that they have to do to be Proud Lion, and you can learn more about that online. Definitely get involved in a committee. Participate as much as you can as a new member. Support the club with a positive attitude, and basically have a lot of fun doing it. When you're in a Lions Club, Lions Clubs are mandated to have 2 different accounts, a club account or project account and a charity account. Some of the clubs are now foundations. I'm not sure Sequoia is, but I know that Host, I think, is a foundation, and 501(c)(3). And then also, I think Charter Oak may be one. But anything that you go out and raise money in the public, like if you have whatever you get that the public gives you money for, has to go into your charity account. Anything that you raise internally from Lions, like your dues or Happy Bucks, that goes into your admin. And most clubs have budgets for these. They're passed every year. So you have the charity account and you have the administration account. You can take money from the administrative account and put it in the project, but you can't take money from the project and put it into the admin. They're very selective. In this, you can pay for in the project or charity fund, you can pay for your expenses of putting on something, but you have to give that money back. And most of them give it out in different varieties of ways. So, all right, I guess, like I said, it can be, administrative funds can be transferred to project, but no, not the other way around. So I think in any organization, no matter what you're doing, you need to know what you're expected to do. And inviting people, giving ideas. You got to be part of the process. this came about, this bonded treasure really was pushed home when we had some real internal problems a few years ago with theft. And so most clubs now bond their treasure, which will ensure that they don't lose money. And you have all these things that come about. Board meetings, minutes should go out to everybody. Agendas should go out to everybody. Most meetings run much better when everyone knows from an agenda what's coming up next. And then, I don't know, not all are doing newsletters, but newsletters are nice too. All right, so basically, I've gone through this really quickly, but his job is to get involved and volunteer. Never be afraid to ask questions. Make sure that everybody in your club knows how appreciated they are, because in doing some training over the years with Carrie Dilts, there's a piece of that was done by Kei Fukushima on why people join and why people leave. And most of the time they join because they want to get involved. They join because they want to feel important and do something important, but they leave because they weren't asked to help. They weren't made to feel comfortable. Not that they should not have had the opportunity to be more proactive on their own part, but most of them leave because they don't feel appreciated. And that's pretty sad, you know. And you are the most important lion that we all have met to this date. So always remember that we owe, and this I think is one of the, I've always thought, whoops, give it back here. We are all each, I see there's something covering it for me, but you can read it. When we fly with other people, we are much more productive and much more effective when we join together and do something, because individually we can still make a difference, but together we can make a bigger impact on our community. And with that, I'm sorry I've gone too quickly. I'm going to go into, now I'm confused again. Okay, participants. I'm going to go in and
you can try. You can end the presentation.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to. It says stop sharing, but it doesn't give me the chance to end the presentation. That's what I'm looking for.
Stop sharing.
Stop sharing. Okay.
There
All right. There we go.
There
All right. That was pretty fast. I'm sorry. Is there any? I've lost a few people. So, is there any questions or comments? Robert, did you have a comment?
I want to raise, I have to do it officially. I raised my hand.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
No, great presentation. Betty, I think, I always pick up a few things from your presentation. This one was no exception. I think it would be great if you could visit clubs and share this presentation. I think those of us that have been lines for a while, we lose touch of some of the things that we should be doing. And there's always nice refreshers at the very least of things that Lines is all about and why we join. I think that's wonderful. Good PowerPoint.
Thank you. Well, this was done by, originally was done by, and I can't remember his name now, but he was from McFarland. You guys lost him to death a few years ago, but.
Oh, who was that? Yeah. Older
Is
guy.
that Carol Welch?
No.
It was a guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, real thin guy with not too many teeth. And he came across as being funny and entertaining and a little ditzy. But when they made him the chair of the orientation, oh my gosh, it was just one of those prime examples of what you sometimes don't see in people. And so when he finished with this, he gave it, I asked him for it. And so I've upped it and changed it around a little bit, but I always think of him when I give him, because it wasn't original for me, but it's a good program.
Right.
Is he a longtime member? Was he a
Yes.
longtime member? Chuck
He
Torres?
just passed away. Pardon?
Chuck Torres?
No, he just passed away about the time your club started being alive again. I mean, I went down there and he was, you guys had gotten really low in membership and you were back, and his daughter was in it, I believe, and
Dave Borky?
David somebody. Dave
Borky?
Borky, that's it.
Oh, he's still alive.
Oh, I thought he passed away.
No, he's been on his deathbed about 3 times. He's still alive.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, David Borkey's the one that gave me this orientation program.
Yeah.
And like I said, I updated it constantly, and I got rid of a few slides, but yeah, he's the one that gave it to me. And but I have gone to clubs. I've given this orientation to clubs, and I'm open to doing it. Carrie and I have done it for years together. We call it the Dog and Pony Show, but it's a good program. And I think that you're true. I think that in life, the minute you stop learning, there's always something new to learn. And whether it's to put it back in perspective or just, I forgot that, or, so.
I noticed something when you were describing the districts and locations in the state, CAL, C-A-L. And I said, well, C can be the ceiling for the northern, A is the average or for the middle, and L is for the lower.
Yeah.
Because people start mentioning to me, oh, they're from L2. I said, well, okay, where's that?
Well, and the interesting too is that L6 is as far down as you can go. That's where the lady's doing the Texas thing. That's San Diego. But then when you get into the L1, 2, 3, and 4, if you look on the map, they look like they're right next to each other. But they are they don't have as much space to cover, or much territory to cover, but they're so tightly woven in there that they have the same amount of people.
Oh yeah.
But when you're governor of 4A2, you got to go all the way to Shaver Lake and all the way down to Fraser Park, over to Kalinga and up in the mountains. I mean, you put some miles on. So yeah.
Didn't we have the largest membership 2 years ago? And someone passed us, A1 passed us, and then we're
A1, yeah. When I was governor, I hate that term, but my year, Pat Gillum was also from A1, and we went through this thing of competing, and so yeah, A1 and A2 kind of keep going, but there's some of the L districts that are dropping down below 1,000, and if they get too low, they'll ask them to combine with another district. And if they get too big, then they'll split them. But
gotcha.
I think we should never lose sight of the fact that we need to always be encouraging membership, and
yes,
getting people involved. Just ask, because that was the term for a while. Just ask.
Okay.
But thank you. But anyway, we never did get Amanda talking, so Amanda, are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh. I can't see you.
A great presentation. It would be wonderful to share this at New Members Night event.
Yeah.
Great.
That's true too. Yeah.
Even if you just did a portion of it, at a glance, that would be a good beginning for them, I think.
Well, I think being new at anything takes time to be comfortable with it.
Right.
Carrie loves to tell the story about me when I joined. It said I would never do anything other than just be a member. But but I think that the more you learn and the more you understand why you're a lion, you'll become a lion and stay a lion. I think
absolutely.
You have to keep revisiting why did I become a lion again? And sometimes I think we lose that perspective in anything. So I appreciate you guys being here, and
yeah.
Our 10 o'clock or 10:30 is still got 10 minutes if anybody has anything they want to talk about. Yes.
I have a
Margie?
question. You were talking about the bond treasure.
Yes.
How much money do you think that would be good to put in that, or should the checks?
It's not. It's just like State Farm is the one I use here in town, and for $90, it's a certain amount of money that you raise that determines the amount of money you pay. It's just a premium. So depending on how much money that your project account raises, that's how much the bond is for, and that bond amount changes. We pay $90, and I think our bond is up to $15,000, $16,000 or something like that. But like at Breakfast Lions or Host Lions or Sequoia Lions that raise more money, it's not how much money you put in there, it's how much money you raise. It's how much the premium is.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about it's towards a project, or is it just your funds that you have and then you want to secure it for something else, or
It's for theft.
So
for
theft?
I think it's a function of your financial exposure. For example, if during the course of the year your club raises $100,000, say, through fireworks sales, through whatever events, not your net income from these projects, but I think your gross amount, that'll be what they base the premium on.
Oh, okay. So wouldn't it secured as the checks going out that 2 people sign, not just one?
That helps.
Just for safety concerns.
I'm sure.
Yes, but then again, you could still, you're open to liability if you don't, anyway. I mean, 2 people,
yeah,
2 people could be in cohesion together, but it's something to think about. My club likes to tease me about the fact, because I would just step down from being treasurer for a few years, that I needed to bond myself. And before I bond myself, I could not go to Hawaii. So they've been teasing me about that for years, that I was going to use the money to go to Hawaii. And but anyway, so we decided to do it a few years ago, and it's just a safety thing. It's kind of nice.
Okay.
It's Margie. It's more than just check writing, and having 2 signatures on checks is great. But for example, our fireworks sale we just had, we're dealing with a lot of cash.
Yes.
Anytime you deal with cash, things get a little leaky. So it's nice to have controls in place.
No, it's just what I'm concerned is that we do 2 signatures on our check, but there's a few people that want to do it single. And like my husband and I, Marco, we were in charge of the firework booth. We're going to take over. So every day I was putting a deposit, and some of them were saying like, why are you putting a deposit? Well, I don't want to get stuck with this money. And then says, well, that's what we have insurance for. So it's kind of like backtracking people. Like, why are you concerned? But to me, I'm the chairperson. My husband is chairperson too. We're responsible. If something goes bad, then that looks bad on us.
Well, and I think you're as treasurer too, that you need to tell people and have approval for checks that are written, and how much they're written for, and who they're written to. But the money, Robert's right, because I think part of the problem, one of the problems that I know of, was because it was a big, huge fundraiser. And they made all this money, but the money never went into the account. It just kind of...
Yeah, floating all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have a regular treasurer, but since we were the chairpersons for the firework booth, I would send the statement, take a photo, and send it to the treasurer so he knew how much was going to the accounts. But some members were just kind of like, why are you making a fuss over it? So, I just kind of want to know everybody's point of view, so then I could go back to those 2 people that were complaining and let them know this is the reason.
That saying about it's better safe than sorry.
Yes.
To me, that you're an ethical person, and that's why you're doing it that way. And there can be no discussion on it whether or not you did it the right way, because you're doing it the right way. But that's not always the case. So
Hey Margie, how big were your fireworks sales?
Oh, we sold everything except 21 items.
Oh my!
So
what was your gross sales?
Well, we sold everything was 23, almost 24, and
24,000.
And then we had to pay 12,000 for the fireworks and expenses and everything. I think we ended up with 12, but we're still waiting to do the taxes. Tomorrow we'll be doing that, and then the credit card fees is a 2.7. So we'll probably make about 9,000.
So to do 9,000, you probably sold about 38,000.
Yeah, probably. But
so
see, we have the chamber. Yeah, we have the chambers, which are lion members there too. So we were competing, and they sold exactly the same amount. So if we didn't have them, we would have kicked butt.
What was yours, Robert? Robert, what was your club's total?
We sold, just like you, we closed down at 4 o'clock on the 4th. Because all that was left was just the little loose items on, on the counter stuff. And we, so our gross was about 53,000.
Ooh.
And I don't like, in controlling credit cards, you know me, Betty. But for example, you said you had credit cards. We have our own Square account. If that's what you use, if you use TNT's,
Yeah.
it goes in their bank account. I don't like that.
Mm.
I like to know where all the cash is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, of that 53,000, I think about, we had about 20,000 in cash go through. So
Wow.
that's a temptation, isn't it? I mean, people pay
Yeah.
with cash. So the more people you have handling it, not just one person, but if you have some, and you account for the cash, you have someone double check your numbers. That's always good stuff. You just can't have enough internal controls when you deal with cash.
Well, I have a background in banking for many years, and that's all those safeguards in place. You still can. People still. I mean, we still had a couple of incidents, but you just do the best you can and be as safe as you can. And
I think this COVID thing has made fireworks. People need to blow some steam, and buying fireworks and just celebrating was just a perfect way to do it. I think everyone had record sales that I've talked to.
Mm.
Hey,
Yeah.
Robert,
Yes.
on next time when you do your fireworks, what we did is all the little odds and ends, we just kind of put them together and we put Lion Special and sell it as one price.
Yeah.
So you could get rid of it because,
Towards the end.
at the end. That's what we did.
I mean, TNT takes it back, so you don't lose any
Yeah.
money on it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
at least you didn't have a big inventory to get back to.
it was quick. It was
Yeah,
quick.
that's amazing.
I think we had loose was maybe four small boxes, and
Wow.
Oh, that was good.
yeah,
Great.
great stuff.
Roland, does Riverdale do a fireworks booth?
Not the Lions. There's another organization there. It's very small, so there's not many stands there.
Right.
Riverdale just had a food item happen recently, wasn't it? Did I see that
What was it?
at Riverdale? Didn't you guys? Was it Riverdale? Oh, I'm thinking of. No, excuse me. I'm thinking. What's the club just north of Hanford?
Yeah, well,
Leighton,
we would have
the Leighton
Carruthers,
Club.
Leighton.
Yeah, Leighton Club. Yeah. Gotcha. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to insult you by thinking you were Leighton.
Well, it's interesting. In the years I've been a Lion, Leighton and Riverdale and have gone, and McFarland, they've gone, and then all of a sudden they're surging, and they're more viable today than they were years ago. So
Yeah.
I was in the year that Judy Woolley was governor and I was the vice. That was when Riverdale was going to close, and so one guy in Riverdale said they went to the people in the school district and told them they were going to close, and so one guy said, "No, that's not going to happen," and he got 18 new members, and we installed 9 of them. Judy did. So
That's great.
yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah, it was interesting. Just what one person could do, like Melvin Jones. One person could change your Riverdale club like nothing, and I think that's true in McFarland, and it's true in a lot of places, where just people are willing to do most anything if you ask them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe that year, around 2005, I started the Leo Club that year. And it grew, and then we just supported those Lions, and membership's going up, and it's in age it's come down a lot too.
That's
we
good.
Have a lot of
you need younger people out there.
Joining us.
Yeah, because it's definitely true. Then a lot of clubs here in Visalia were aging out. I mean, so clubs that were viable and strong it's not that they don't. It's not. I don't think that they don't care. It's just that they don't have the energy to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, great job.
Good job, Betty.
Everyone about the evaluation, so we can get some results in and put you inside that raffle for 3 o'clock.
Okay, so we just go to the stop to end, and then it goes back to that form before?
Yeah,
Yep, I think so.
Leave, and then we'll leave this one, and then go back to the schedule, and you'll see the evaluation link.
For some reason, I had it last night, but I don't have leave. I have end.